The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
Wrestling to the Max Smackdown Review.
Hello and welcome to the Wrestling to the Max WWE Smackdown Live Review for July 25th, 2017. And I'm your host, Sean Garmer, and here with me, Mr. Harry Broadhurst.
What's up, Sean? Evening, everybody.
Well, nice to have you here again, Harry. So, this is, of course, the post-Battleground Smackdown, a very divisive pay-per-view, one that, was drawing very different ratings depending on who was talking about the show that minute. But, so they decided to, of course, one of the big things coming out of Battleground was the Kevin Owens and AJ Styles finish to the match that was sort of just kind of weird, and resulted in Kevin Owens leaving Battleground with the U.S. Championship. Owens basically is happy that he is U.S. Champion again, calling himself a good person, and saying that now he can defend the title with pride and honor, and reinstates the Kevin Owens U.S. title open challenge, which is a little bit different than the AJ Styles Open Challenge, I guess. But it does not begin this week, as he is, a tired man. It begins next week, especially because he does not want to wrestle in front of these hicks in Richmond, Virginia. And then AJ Styles comes out, being a Southerner himself, and he basically wants his rematch for the title. And Owens again reiterates he's not defending it tonight. Well, then you get the big surprise of Chris Jericho coming out. The crowd is ecstatic. He does a bunch of his catchphrases. But then Shane McMahon comes out to tell us that we're going to have a triple threat main event tonight for the U.S. title. What'd you think?
I feel like Jericho kind of relies too much on his shtick nowadays.
It works, though.
Like, it does, and I don't disagree with it. And anybody who knows me and has been listening to either when I've guested on W2M or me and Patrick on Wrestling Unwrapped, they know that I'm a massive Jericho mark. So I'm not saying it's a bad rap at all for him to rely on. But I feel like he kind of hits the highlights now rather than giving us anything substantial in his promos. And he seemed awfully jovial for a guy who should be pissed off that he had his bell rung and his neck attacked the last time he was on WWE television, in my opinion.
This is one of those, again, Vince thinks it's been too long. We're not going to remember that. And, so.
Yes, apparently our attention spans expire after about 2 months.
Sometimes I think he thinks it's 2 weeks.
Well, that would explain all the recaps on Raw. Anyways, as far as the overall segment goes, though, I thought it was really well done, and I definitely enjoyed the Jericho surprise, because I feel like even though Jericho's getting up there, he's 47 now, he still adds an energy that a lot of the regular roster doesn't necessarily always have. Because Jericho knows his time in wrestling is limited, so he wants to make the most out of what opportunities he has left.
Yeah, obviously you could see it took him a while last time to get back into the flow of wrestling. He had those matches against AJ at first, and they weren't that good. Then as time went on, having more wrestling regularly. He got back to sort of the old Jericho, but once you get into this age, I mean, even guys that have been great at 47, 48, all that, 50 years old, you're gonna lose something there. And so, if you're Jericho, you're relying on something that you got over. The list, the shtick, the, drink it in, man, and all that stuff. I mean, if the fans want to see you do it, why not? I think they want to see that more than his matches right now.
I would agree with that to an extent. I think that the Jericho character is arguably the most over thing about him right now, rather than his in-ring abilities. But that being said, I don't think he's out of his element inside of the ring still either. He hasn't overstayed his welcome inside of the ring.
Yeah, I mean, it also helps that he leaves quite a bit too. So it's not like he's there, and once he starts feeling like, all right, this isn't fun for me, he leaves. And that's smart on his end. Again, it helped a lot that he got the whole thing with the list over, and I think that made things fun for him, and he stayed probably a lot longer than he was really supposed to this last time. And, who knows if this means he's around regularly again, or if that was a one-time thing he was doing. But, yeah, this is going to be, I liked it. I liked that we had this and really kind of came out of nowhere. Of course, I wasn't really paying attention to, the sheets before SmackDown either. I got home like 30 minutes before it started. So, but maybe this was out there, and I just didn't see it. But I don't really remember seeing anything like it. So, being Battleground, being a pay-per-view, we see these a lot. Rematches from the previous show. We get one here with Shinsuke Nakamura and Baron Corbin. This was a lot better than the pay-per-view match. For me, that pay-per-view match was just very boring, and it was not helped by Nakamura sort of doing the whole taking the night off. Nakamura and Baron Corbin just kind of being Baron Corbin. I think this got helped a lot by the work on the outside. Shinsuke doing the whole flip with the lariat, which I think really helped sell that was a big deal. And what's weird is you have Corbin kind of cover himself at the pay-per-view, and then Nakamura just wins here. So, I don't know. Kind of seems almost like it made the Battleground stuff pointless. Like, why protect him if you're just going to have him lose the next time you have a show?
More people are going to see tonight's episode of SmackDown than watch the pay-per-view, though. I don't think there's any question of that. You got to think that the network subscriptions are probably around the neighborhood of 1.2 million, whereas in a typical week, about 2.5 million people watch SmackDown. That being said... Well,
you're right about that, but I mean, they're showing recaps of the pay-per-view.
That being said, I don't think that either match was anything particularly special, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that these two have no chemistry against each other, which is unfortunate because I thought the build up to the Battleground pay-per-view match between them was really good, but the match was disappointing. Tonight's match was around the same level for me, around 2.5 stars.
I had it lower at the pay-per-view. It was your 2-star special for me at the pay-per-view, and this one was a little bit better at the 2.5 range or whatnot. But it's just, go ahead.
Oh, real quick, that flip bump that he did off of the lariat, I'm pretty sure he did it at the pay-per-view as well.
Probably did, but I don't know. I felt more like it sort of mattered at this one than it did the previous one. And I mean, it also helped that Nakamura was kind of pissed. He was already trying to get a Kinshasa on the outside and everything. So, yeah.
Do you think this leads into Corbin falling into the curse of the case?
I mean, he's already been losing before he got the case. So
that's fair.
Does it really matter whether he loses before or after he gets it if he's been losing? I'm not enthralled at all with him or the fact of him being champion at some point. It seems like with what's been set up here that perhaps Corbin is going to either sabotage Cena's attempt at getting that big record breaker, or, he's going to make the record breaker almost meaningless. I would almost hope that you get the former rather than the latter, but we'll see what they decide to do.
Yeah, if he's going to go after anybody next week, I would much prefer it be Cena rather than Nakamura, specifically due to the fact that I do not want the cash-in to come in on Cena, because that would make the 17th title reign almost irrelevant in hindsight.
I could see Vince doing that, though. Thinking that that's an even bigger a moment that can make Baron Corbin basically just killing Cena's historic moment. You know how they are about making everything, there's a historic thing, and let's just make it mean like nothing at the end. So, it would fall in line with us with a lot of what they do with the women when they say something's historic and then they go out and do what they do. This is sort of interesting with these guys, which we get to see later. Mentioning Cena, I'm going to skip around here just because this makes sense in the context of we're talking about Corbin and Shinsuke here. Shinsuke becomes involved in something else that they set up here with Jinder wanting to basically saying, look, I beat Randy Orton now 3 times. I want a different opponent. And John Cena comes out it's not really known that that's going to be his opponent at the time. It's just that Jinder's talking and then Cena interrupts. Jinder kind of acts like he knows what he's going to say, and Cena kind of interrupts him and just makes fun of him, saying that no, that's pretty much not what he was going to say. He calls him just a piece of crap, and sort of makes fun of him. Like, I felt like I don't know that this really did Jinder any favors. He sort of just he gave him credit, and then he took it away immediately.
If I'm not mistaken, though, when Mahal was talking in Punjab, I'm almost certain I heard him say John Cena's name.
Maybe. I kind of tuned out when he started talking in Punjab because I don't understand the language. So
I listened for like little subtleties and stuff, and I'm almost certain I heard him say Cena's name.
I mean, if he did.
I mean, it kind of tipped off to me that Cena was going to be the one to interrupt. That being said, the setup for next week was a surprise, and I'm actually really, really surprised they're giving that away on free television.
Yeah, I think with Cena, we already knew it was going to be him pretty much. Like, there's not really anybody that's on that level, and AJ's already tied up with something. Nakamura's not there yet. They will try to make him be there after the match next week, if that match even either happens or really gets going, because they could decide to just do a screw finish, and that really doesn't go anywhere, but we'll see what they decide to do here. Pretty much Daniel Bryan comes out this time to tell John Cena that, look, even you have to earn title shots. And so he tells John Cena that even though he and Jinder both won at Battleground, there's another man that won tonight, and Shinsuke Nakamura is going to face John Cena next week on SmackDown. Well, that's something, right? To do this on free TV.
That's what I was just saying. I'm surprised that they're giving this match away on free television.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I'm sort of saying to you, is that this is just something. Like, it's just understandable that obviously the network, it being $10, they don't really have to sell that to anybody, but you still need to sell out the arena that the show is in. And Cena Nakamura will do it.
If it were any pay-per-view other than SummerSlam, I'd agree with that. But with this being SummerSlam, I don't think you're going to be in danger of selling out the arena.
Oh, no, I didn't mean that it had to happen at SummerSlam. I mean, they could have set this up and, they could have had this be at one of the other B pay-per-views where they could have sold that B pay-per-view arena with that match.
No, I agree.
It's just, obviously they want ratings. This brings in people, right? Again, they could do the whole TV thing and just have this match, not really do a whole lot, and you redo it later, and then you have a triple threat, or Shinsuke just kind of floats out of the picture, however they want to do this. What do you see? Do you think they really have a full match with Cena beating Nakamura? I just can't see that.
I think what you kind of mentioned earlier might be the likely way to go here. Have Corbin attack Cena. Have Corbin cost Cena the match. Set up Corbin versus Cena at SummerSlam and let Nakamura take on Mahal for the SmackDown title.
Oh, God. If there's a time where I feel like Nakamura's going to look across at Mahal and be like, all right, I'm going half-speed Nakamura for sure. I don't know. I just feel like, look, if Nakamura's going to be the guy to beat Mahal, then that's cool. And what a moment and what a show to do it at SummerSlam. But it's just, I feel like we're destined for Cena to do this thing.
I'm a little disappointed that my plans to go to SmackDown next week kind of fell through a little bit, but it's all right. I'll make up for it. Because between this and your main event a little bit later on that was announced for next week as well, those are two matches that should be really entertaining to the fans in the arena, regardless of what does and doesn't happen as far as finishes go. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt that the matches between Styles and Owens have been entertaining. It's just the finish from Sunday left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth.
Yeah, I mean, and it wasn't anywhere near as good as their first match, which wasn't helped by the fact that the crowd was just kind of out of it too. At that point. So, pretty much after that, which, Daniel Bryan does confirm the Cena Nakamura match for next week. We do have a Kevin Owens complaining to Shane McMahon about, why are you putting me in a triple threat match against both these guys? Shane pretty much says, look, both these guys have rematches. And I don't really care who the champion is. I just want a great match happening here. This is about the fans. So I thought Shane did well standing his ground and making it a point. He's a face GM. It is about the fans. And
this isn't the first time that we've teased Shane McMahon versus Kevin Owens either, and I think that that's something that we may end up seeing going forward as well.
I'd love to see it. Kevin Owens and Shane would be wonderful. We already have Kevin Owens anytime there's a Talking Smack or just anything. He comes in and erupts and just is a total dick. So I could see Shane just saying, you know what? I'm tired of this. Let's have a match or whatever. I'd love to see it. It's going to be good stuff. You have, would you be excited by that match happening?
I would, and the main thing about that match is I think that it would do a lot to raise the profile of Kevin Owens in the WWE to the more casual WWE fan, because they know that Shane McMahon is an experience. I think having a match against Shane helps somebody like Owens, especially somebody like Owens who appears to be somewhat lost in the shuffle right now.
Yeah, I wonder if they have AJ retain, and then finally this kind of sets AJ up to do something else after Owens.
Yeah, let AJ retain clean next week in Cleveland, and then you can set it up where AJ can go do the U.S. Open Challenge, and if you don't want to do Cena and Mahal at SummerSlam, you can do Cena Styles at SummerSlam, and then you can have, you can have Owens pissed off over what's gone down with Styles, the fact that he's lost his belt twice in the span of a month to Styles now, and he takes it out by attacking Shane, similar to what AJ did going into WrestleMania this year.
Interesting. Totally could. It is a big event. Not that you need any more big matches. I think the show's already pretty much sold, but you want to drive people, viewers, to watch it at home, and having Shane in a match, I think, still draws attention. And then Kevin, like I said, Kevin Owens is going to be great on the microphone for that.
Well, they sold me on SummerSlam with the Raw title match being announced. I was ready to go for SummerSlam once that match was made official.
Well, I mean, if you do have Cena and Mahal, this opens up Shinsuke to do his thing, right? AJ reinstitutes that open challenge, and then Shinsuke comes out, and you get that at SummerSlam.
Depending on whether or not they go with a clean finish. I've heard one of the suggestions that I saw was a possible double fall, like a Dusty finish, and you make it a Cena, Nakamura, Mahal triple threat match at SummerSlam.
I just don't see the need for that, honestly. But if that's what they want to do, that's fine. Just I don't see the need. You got way too many multi-person matches anyway. You're setting that up for the women. You already have that for the Raw. You don't need that for everything. That show's going to be an extra hour long. You can find other ways to get a bunch of people on the card.
That is right. SummerSlam does start at 7, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. I think all the big four start.
Except for Survivor Series, because screw you, Survivor Series.
I think it did last time. I thought it did.
I don't recall Survivor Series starting at 7 Eastern, but I might be wrong. I don't believe it did, though.
All right, so after all this, we go to Ty Dillinger and Sami Zayn having a tag match. Of course, these are both fallouts from the previous evening where Aiden English...
Real quick, we skipped a match.
I'm bouncing around, I already said.
Sorry.
So we have... I was just leaving that sort of for later because it wasn't the greatest of segments there, but since you did bring it up, might as well here. The women were sort of slotted after the Shinsuke and Baron Corbin match from earlier. Naomi is getting interviewed backstage, and then Natalya shows up, and Natalya sort of hinted at this at Battleground, and then she restates it here again that she feels that Naomi putting the glow on the title is disrespectful to the heritage of championships from the past. And then Naomi sort of takes the approach that Natalya is just stuck in the past and that the glow is in the now. So, I mean, I know you're not a big fan of the glow belt and all that. I don't have a problem with it. It's Naomi having the title right now. She should be able to do what she wants with it.
I agree with Natalya completely. I think that the tradition states that the belts are meant to be important. And, yeah, I get the individualization of the titles, but at the same time, they have side plates and stuff for that kind of stuff. If she wanted to make the side plates glow, go for it. I don't care. But leave the belt itself alone.
I just don't see what the big deal is, whether it's the side plates or the belt. They can take the glow off once.
I'm a traditionalist when it comes to this kind of stuff. I didn't care for Austin's Smoking Skull belt. I didn't care for Rock's Brahma Bull belt. I didn't care for the Spinner title, and I don't care for this.
As long as it's not the face title, we're good. Just don't bring that back. Jeff Hardy, if you win a singles title again, please just don't bring that in. We don't.
I'm pretty sure they got Jeff off of whatever he was on back then that made him think that was a good idea. We should be good.
I don't know. Now they're promoting the face paint coming back again. So, I wonder how many times he's gonna be able to show that his eyes are closed, but they're really open.
Well, now my question is, don't you see the writing on the wall?
Oh, Lord. Wow.
But I actually want to give credit to Naomi and Natalya here. They really effective diva segment backstage there. Carmella was kind of just there, but Naomi and Natalya's promos back and forth were both really well done, so props to both ladies for that.
Yeah, Carmella is just continuing her thing about just reminding Naomi that at any moment I can strike, and I kind of like that. I like that she's keeping herself relevant, letting Naomi know, I'm here. Just, you got to think about me. I'm in the back of your mind. And that sort of plants that seed, lets her play some little mind games there. A little bit of James Ellsworth getting in there, even though he's not there. So then you have this tag match with women that were in the Fatal 5-Way elimination match from the previous Battleground there. Charlotte and Becky against Tamina and Lana. This was short. It was, just it wasn't good. Let's just say that. It wasn't good. Lana screws up, tags herself in at the wrong time. Charlotte hits a boot and then pins Lana. Tamina is pissed on the outside, and she is not happy about anything and not really walking back with Lana either. So, and Lana went on a ridiculous rant on Twitter, by the way, on people that are mad at her yelling that she can't wrestle.
Couple of things. One, I didn't see her Twitter rant, so I can't touch on that. Two, as far as the match goes, it was there to give the fans in the live attendance an opportunity to see Charlotte and Becky. 3, Lana's ring gear's still a 10, so I don't care about anything she does in the ring.
Well, you're just matching the rest of the crowd why they cheer for her and stuff, which is fine. But, I think there's plenty of opportunity for women right now that have the ability to go in the ring and deliver competent matches, in addition to being attractive women. You see it on Raw and SmackDown. Raw has their women's champion, Alexa Bliss, who is arguably, in my opinion, the best-looking woman in the WWE. You have the SmackDown Women's Champion, Naomi, who's not my cup of tea, but I'm sure she appeals to a massive audience. And then Becky and Charlotte have their appeals as well. So there are plenty of women who are attractive that can still go. But at the same time, the WWE has also always been noted for its eye candy. And I think that when it comes to the classical diva approach that they used to go to, Lana's the next step in that evolution. She's not a step in the evolution. She is a diva, pretty much. And
well, that's what I'm saying. She's their Sunny. She's their Sable.
Yeah, but she's not. She's Maurice. That one that she's not as good as Maurice for me. She's the one. Maurice doesn't wrestle anymore, so what difference does it make for her? She's the one that's going to get into the ring, but she's only going to get into the ring to be eye candy, though. I'm just saying that Maurice does her spot better, and she doesn't wrestle. It just Lana she does fine. Just, I don't know that. I felt like even Marie's gimmick, even Marie's gimmick was better than what they have Lana doing right now.
Oh, 100% agree with that. I think if Eva Marie would have been able to get her crap together, would have been perfect for this role. And we saw kind of an example of that down in NXT when she went down there and faced Bayley for the women's title. That was fantastic.
Yeah, the crowd just absolutely ate that up. And then also her, kind of having those little vignettes where she would tell people that she's still gone, and but she loves them, and it was just soaking in the booze even on video. It was such great stuff. It's sad to kind of see that she didn't try to give it another run, because Like, even though if she wouldn't have been able to ever be a competent wrestler, she was still getting ridiculous, heat that, only like Roman Reigns and very few get that.
I think what the plan with Eva and kind of Lana to an extent is to kind of have that crossover appeal into mainstream media, similar to what they had with Sable and Sunny back in the 90s.
Oh yeah, that's why Lana gets cheered.
Right. They're there for their looks, but they're also there to bring more casual eyes onto the product as well. People are going to see somebody like Lana in a mainstream appearance and be like, "Wow, she's hot. What's she doing?"
Oh yeah, and then of course we have to also remember that they're also filming all this for Total Divas, and they need storylines for Total Divas. So having her be in the ring and do all that, and her being able to talk about that on the show as, "Oh, I finally got to wrestle for WWE. How great is that?" That's also very helpful in that regard, and giving them stories already kind of built in for that show. I think. Go ahead.
I've watched a grand total of 0 episodes of Total Divas. I'm good.
So I love this part of the New Day. We're set to celebrate, and the Usos just came and said, "You know what? Shit ain't happening tonight." Like,
no, they straight up beat the New Day's ass.
Yeah. I love that. They're pissed from the previous night where they lost the titles, and they're like, "Oh, hell no. You only celebrating on our watch."
Oh, no. 100% agree. Fantastic character segment for the Usos here. Didn't necessarily have to be... It was a strong beatdown, too, but it didn't even necessarily have to be as good of a beatdown as it was. It was a case of, like you said, the Usos were pissed off that they dropped the tag team titles on Sunday. And they're like, "You guys think you're going to celebrate on our watch? Nah, homie, you ain't done yet." Did I say that right?
Yeah, no, that was fine. I laughed at you saying that. So
that's about as urban as I get, Sean.
It's fine, let's not pretend to act like we can be the Usos in one evening. That's hard work for Jimmy and Jay to be able to pull that off, let alone guys that have know nothing about being urban. I just really enjoyed that segment. It was short, but it really emphasized them just wanting New Day to suffer for beating them last. Battleground.
I will say that I was disappointed at the lack of Breezango / attackers tonight, because they left it at kind of a cliffhanger on Sunday, and you had to assume they were going to deliver a response on SmackDown here tonight, and then no response ever came. I was a little disappointed by that.
Yeah, I was disappointed too. Like, why wouldn't you have that? But if they're not promoting it in the SmackDown preview for next week, that means they gotta have it ready, because you're telling people to try to watch for that. The match that we forgot to talk about previously, Ty Dillinger, Sami Zayn. Of course, this is coming off Dillinger losing to Aiden English on the pre-show, and then Sami Zayn beating Mike Kanellis, which surprised a lot of people, considering, Kanellis has just been here. So they kind of went 50-50 already with the guy, and that's weird. But, this is, again, another Sami Zayn getting the win. This was it was a match. It was fine. I didn't think anything too crazy was going on here, but yeah.
Out of these 4, you know who has stood out the most to me over the course of the last 3 days?
Who?
Aiden English.
I can agree with that.
I need to first of all state that I have a little bit of a bias here. I am a humongous mark for his opera persona. Loved it in NXT. love it even more now that he's brought it back.
It was great in NXT.
Not to mention the fact that he has the pipes to pull it off too.
It also helped the crowd really went along with it in NXT.
You'll notice too that, like, despite the fact that they want it to be kind of a heat thing in the WWE, there are fans cheering his singing.
It's like the Drifter thing on Raw. The fans kind of give a mixed reaction to that too. It seems like when you involve music, the fans are kind of down with it.
And I feel like this particular gimmick right here has long-term staying potential. They just need to get away from focusing on the crybaby aspect of it that they originally focused on once they gave him back his operatic gimmick, and focusing more on the fact that he's more than competent and more than capable inside the ring, like he proved in the pre-show match with Ty Dillinger.
I think Vince just didn't understand the whole operatic gimmick, so he's like, oh, we got to add something else to this.
Vince didn't understand that. That's pretty much the modus operandi for SmackDown most weeks.
Also, it's just that whole, like, again, he didn't create it, so he wants to add his own spin. I don't think that you have to worry about it, like, with some of the other NXT gimmicks where, like, it's been a long time since he did that gimmick. You know, you would have had to go back in the archives if you hadn't watched NXT in a long time to see him doing that.
Mm-hmm.
It's fresh enough where you could have just brought that over and not have to have the crybaby thing, but again, it's hopefully something that they phase out eventually and just let him do the singing thing. And finally, the only thing we got left of I do want to mention that I hate that Ty Dillinger is. I'm glad he got the win, but I just hate that he's not doing something more.
You and Robert Taylor both, Sean.
The dude is loved by the fans. They chant his 10 thing. I mean, I don't know what else you want from the guy.
You want to know what this is, Sean? This is ZRS. Zack Ryder Syndrome. How dare you get yourself over on your own?
He got over in NXT like all the other people.
No, but he got over through a gimmick of his own creation. How dare you make yourself popular of your own doing? We say who gets over and when they get over.
At least Triple H was smart enough to run with it in NXT. Vince, no sir. We do not want to do that here. I don't listen to the... I'm a great listener. No, I'm not.
I will say this much. I do think that once the AJ Styles Open Challenge becomes an official thing for the U.S. title on SmackDown, I think Dillinger is one of the guys who's definitely going to benefit from the opportunity to wrestle AJ Styles for the U.S. title.
I could see that, yeah. That'd be great if they get to do that. I hope so.
Maybe even have them to go to like a time limit draw on SmackDown and set up a pay-per-view rematch.
Yeah, I'd love to see it, but will they do it? That's another thing. You know, we can sit here and talk about how great that would be and all that, but will they actually do it? That's what I wonder about.
Can't disagree.
And then we have our main event here, which this was a terrific match to close the show between Jericho, Styles, and Owens. This is what we really should have seen between Styles and Owens at Battleground, but I liked everything about this. These guys did not sit here and do the normal formula of just, it's one guy and another guy. And when Jericho or Styles or Owens try to be involved most of the time, the surprising thing was AJ Styles regaining the championship in 2 days, and he actually covers Jericho, so Kevin Owens was never pinned here. He has the gripe. He goes out and screams that he wants his rematch the next week, one-on-one against Styles. The one-on-one match he did not want to give Styles earlier in the night, so, pot calling the kettle there, irony, whatever you want to say. it does get that story across, and I just really enjoyed this match. Great way to end the show.
Yeah, funny how all these people were chanting Fire Road or trying to trend Fire Road Dog after Battleground, and then we get an episode of SmackDown like tonight's. Yes, Battleground under-delivered. Yes, the booking was part of the problem. But at the same time, SmackDown has long been a case of their television shows are far greater than their pay-per-views because they realize that the television shows have a much broader audience to reach. Yeah, it's disappointing when you're. It's disappointing.
Great Balls
when
of
you
Fire
have,
will tell you otherwise, but go ahead.
Well, that wasn't SmackDown. That was Raw.
It's not true. They've had pay-per-views that are good. It's that sometimes
the original SmackDown pay-per-views were very good. Backlash, No Mercy were both very good. I'm not going to sit here and deny that, Sean.
I'm just saying, I don't think that really has much to do with it. I think it's just about yesterday's show was everything was not booked well. You had a bunch of stipulations that you had them all on one show, and they sucked. I mean...
Yeah, I don't think you can blame the talent for what happened on Sunday night. I think what happens is it falls into the hands of outdated and arguably inoperable stipulations. The flag match... Sorry, but no one gives a shit about a flag match in 2017.
Yeah, you're not going to get the heat like that, like you did in the 90s and, the 80s. It's just
the Punjabi prison match. I have often said this about Randy Orton. Randy Orton is one of the 5 best wrestlers in the WWE when he's motivated. The problem is that motivation comes and goes seemingly at will.
Mm-hmm.
He clearly did not care on Sunday.
Well, I think he knew he was taking time off, and I don't think he's a big fan of gender either. I think when he said that line of your, jacked up ass, I think he is, where Cena eloquently put it tonight, where, you're in the best shape of your life kind of thing. Randy took the different approach of sort of insulting him for it.
See, I don't know if I can agree with that, though, because I think that the 2 matches that they had prior, before the Punjabi prison match, were both actually pretty good.
They were good, but I'm sorry, if the Singh brothers weren't killing themselves, I don't think it would have been the same thing.
I agree with that, and I think being in the ring with somebody like Orton when he's unmotivated doesn't help Jinder's case either. No, I will be curious to see.
Jinder really hasn't had an opportunity to really flourish. The other matches he's had outside of Orton are squash matches, so,
Well, he did beat Styles on SmackDown once. That match was pretty good.
Yeah, it's AJ Styles. You're going to have it takes a lot not to have a good match with AJ.
Yeah, you have to really be trying to screw things up to not have a good match with AJ.
Yeah, so, this show ends very well with this terrific triple threat match. Definitely you should go check this out. This is well worth your time to watch this main event. And then obviously watch the opening segment because it sets up the main event well. Everything else wrestling-wise you can skip. None of that is really...
Not true. Watch the Uso beat down on the New Day.
That's not wrestling.
But it's to set up something wrestling related, and it is a wrestling. Okay, I see what your point is.
Yes, watch that 2-minute segment. You will love it, unless you just for some reason hate the Usos or something. Even then, you should grasp it. This is a great storytelling for the Usos in that way. But what would your final rating be for this show?
All right, I'm curious. When you guys did your Raw review last night, what score did you give Raw last night?
I have no idea. That's a Paul and Gary thing. And I did not get to listen to it today.
Okay, did you watch Raw yesterday?
I did not. I had to watch the G1 yesterday during Raw.
Oh, well. Mm-hmm. I gave Raw a 7.5 last night because I was thoroughly entertained by all 3 hours. I found tonight's SmackDown much the same. It was really hard for me to give the advantage to one show over the other for this week, so I'm going to give tonight's SmackDown a 7.5 as well.
I'm just going to go straight 7. You had the main event that's well worth watching for everybody. The rest of the wrestling is not anything you need to go check out, but it progressed things. You got the the Cena gender stuff that I think everybody kind of knew was coming, but they added the nice little nugget in there of having the Shinsuke Cena match for next week. They set things up for next week, which I always appreciate when you have things set up for the following week instead of leaving it all up there for us to guess what's going to happen. And, I guess there's intrigue there with Lana Tamina. It's weird that you just started that, and if you're going to break it up this fast, okay. And, yeah. Anything else you want to add about SmackDown?
No, I just want to say after what many would consider a disappointing Battleground show, I personally gave it a 4. After what many would consider a disappointing Battleground show, tonight was a nice rebound for SmackDown on the road to the biggest party of the summer.
Yeah, certainly. They knew that they kind of stunk up the joint, for a lack of a better term.
Screwed the pooch?
Yes. At Battleground, they had to come up with a much more, a SmackDown that you're expecting, a fire SmackDown, and they did that here. Again, watch that main event, and I guess that's going to wrap it up for us talking about SmackDown this week. Of course, like I mentioned, Paul and Gary did the Raw review. If you haven't checked that out, we also did a Battleground review after all three of us reviewed Battleground after Paul and Gary had done Raw. And Paul and I are going to, as long as Paul is still awake by the time we finish 205 Live, we're going to do Night 6 tonight by itself so that we only have to do Night 7 and 8 on Thursday. We did 4 and 5 last night as well, if you want to continue to follow along with us on the G1 coverage.
So many podcasts.
And we had the episode part 1 as well that we did with some news, and Paul and Gary reviewed the ROH TV episode. So 4 episodes in one night. We got that done. The first of 2.
Can I plug a couple things?
Go ahead.
All right. Wrestling Unwrapped should return this Sunday. Hopefully we can tape the episode in advance. I have, unfortunately, a potentially extenuating circumstance that might keep me out for Sunday. If not, we will be back on Sunday with Pro Wrestling Guerrillas DDT4 2015. The big thing I want to plug, too, is I want to let everybody know that officially Paul, Patrick, and I have been talking about this, and we are going to go live with a post-bracket reveal prediction show for the Mae Young Classic after SummerSlam as well.
Well, sweet. That's awesome news to hear. So they'll get you hyped for that Mae Young Classic that will, of course, appear on demand the week after, and people hopefully are excited to check that out. Of course, you gotta keep. I haven't seen it out there after that first week. It's really died down. So hopefully, spoilers and stuff like that don't start coming up closer to the airing of the show, which I'm scared of that starting to show up again.
Yeah, anybody who does spoilers a week after they happen are dicks.
Yeah, let's hope not. But I'm worried about, because SummerSlam and all that will be happening, people will try to get some cheap clicks and all that with the spoilers for that, and it's starting to come airing the next week. So, all right. Well, until we're back talking SmackDown next week, see you later, everybody.
The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.